What up, what up? This is Coach Liebs, and welcome to episode 34 of Coach Talk. We got a special guest on the podcast today, familiar face for all the Sideline Hustle fans, and someone who is very relevant to the action this week, Paramus Catholic offensive coordinator, former Rutgers quarterback, and one of my good friends, Gary Nova. What up, G?
What's going on? It's good to be back on.
Yeah, man. We've obviously done this before. We've been on the podcast together quite a few times, but we figured this was a really appropriate week to bring him back, considering we're playing Paramus Catholic last regular season game of the year. PC is 2-6. We're 4-4. And we just wanted to kind of come on and summarize our experiences, both being first-time coaches in this league, and just try to provide some insight and share some good stories. So let's start with you, G. I guess give me your summary of the season, your thoughts just in general of how it's gone and what the biggest adjustments have been.
I mean, obviously the season hasn't gone, as we hoped. We're 2-6 right now, but we're a young team. We got a lot of talent, and we're fortunate to be in this league that everybody makes the playoffs. So we're hoping to play a good game this Friday night, and hopefully carry some momentum into the first round, and then, whatever happens. And, it's just been really exciting for me to be coaching my first year, and that's it, man. I really love coaching. I love the kids. The kids give great effort every day, and that's pretty much it, man.
What's been the biggest adjustment thus far?
The biggest adjustment is definitely just, the kids aren't going to have that same energy and desire that you have. So it's kind of just, kind of putting that aside and breaking everything down from the beginning and not expecting them to approach everything how you would. So, I get frustrated sometimes when I'll explain something to, a quarterback or to a receiver, and, they don't have that mindset that I would have had going into it. They approach it differently with not enough urgency, or, they just don't get, you got to read the Sam linebacker. They're still looking at receivers, and, they're running their route. We tell them to get to 12. They're running it at 7. And it doesn't bother them that they got to 7, So things like that, you just got to be like, all right, it's not you out there. It's another kid. You got to explain it in a different way, or, get more reps at it so it could get across to them, even better.
Yeah. I think I'd say similarly, like people who listen to the podcast, as you guys know, it's been, an up and down season for us at Bosco. I think that we've had success. I think we feel good about where we're at. We've lost 2 close games to Bergen and Peters that we wish we could get back. But, otherwise I think it's gone pretty much as we expected. I think for me personally, the hardest adjustment has been just coaching high school kids. I've only ever been a college coach, and just dealing with the 16-year-old emotions, dealing with the different distractions that college kids have, from the pressures of getting recruited to the pressures of, seeing some girl on a Friday night that I'm sure is in their head. Like just little things that high school kids aren't as professional. And even at a place like Bosco or Paramus Catholic, where they're only there, every football player is there to play football, to play college football. So they are more focused than like a public school kid, which you would know. You coached public school football last year, but it's not the same as being in high school where you're coaching close to grown men in college. In high school, you're coaching boys, and you got to kind of do more, provide more emotional support, and provide just more of like the everyday love to get them going. They're not going to show up and just handle their business like a man every day. And some days the kid might be off for something that's totally out of your control because he didn't sleep all night because his girlfriend broke up with him. Who knows?
We actually had that happen. Kid almost didn't show up to practice because his girlfriend broke up with him or whatever.
I had a kid who, he was like, oh, coach, I'm feeling a lot of pressure today. I got, my friends coming to watch, like all this stuff where it's like, bro, like grow up. Like, I was coaching a kid who's playing in front of 100,000 people. He didn't feel pressure. You're getting nervous. You got 7 friends coming to the game. Like, figure it out.
Yeah.
But all right, it's definitely entertaining every day, man.
I always say, I said we should shop a series on Netflix next year.
I'm saying.
People got to see the stuff that goes on.
Buffoonery never dies would be the title because it exists everywhere.
It will make money.
Gary and I talk to each other throughout the season. We'll share stories and just talk about the craziness because no matter where you are, coaching is chaos, whether you're at Paramus Catholic, Don Bosco Prep, or Alabama, or the New York Giants. Behind the scenes, there's just chaos. There's characters running the show. There's ridiculousness everywhere. You're dealing with kids everywhere except the NFL, and it just makes for a lot of entertainment. Let's talk about the high moments and the low moments of the season so far in your mind. What's been, I guess the high moment of your season for you?
I think for us, our second game of the year, we were playing Pope John. And obviously the year before, prior, they had gone 5-6, and Pope John really put a beat down on them last year. They beat them like 40-something to 7. So we had lost our first game, and people kind of had a negative mindset. We weren't really sure how they were going to come out and play against Pope John, but actually they came out and they responded pretty well. We we got a good win. I think it did a lot for us as far as just realizing, because we have a lot of sophomores who haven't played before.
Yeah. So
I think it did a lot for their confidence. Just like, all right, we belong in this conference. We can play at this level, and so from there on, I think obviously the teams have gotten better. So we haven't been able to get the wins, but I think just their confidence as far as we can play at this level. We just gotta come together, and we got a lot of things to work on. But I think that for us, that was our high moment, beating Pope John.
Yeah, I think similarly for us, it's kind of been a quest of proving to ourselves and proving to each other that we can win this league and win a state championship. And I think they finally believe that. The high moment for us, I think it's kind of twofold. For the receivers, personally, at Bosco, I would say it's week 1 against Burns. We were down 17-3 midway through the third quarter and came back, throwing the ball over the place to win that game. It was the most pressure we put on the receivers all year, because we are like a run-first team, and they responded really well and won that game, so that was awesome. And then I think last week against DePaul Catholic, they were the number 1 team in New Jersey in most people's polls, and most experts, which obviously I use the air quotes on the people that define those rules, but most people thought we'd get smoked, and I think that we were fortunate that one of their best players was hurt, but we came and put a butt whooping on them, running for 544 yards and 8 touchdowns and winning by 30. That was certainly the high point for the team as a whole, because now we're feeling like we're as good as anyone in the state, and I think everyone's kind of perceiving us that way, and we just gotta stay humble and continue to get better. But I think we're coming off our high point right now, which is could be a gift and a curse. You hope the kids don't get too inflated and their egos aren't too big, but at the same time, we should be very confident heading into this game against you guys. And it's a game that I don't know if a lot of people know, but it's something that's been talked about at Bosco. I don't think Bosco's beaten Paramus Catholic in like 7 or 8 years. So it's motivation for our kids.
It's funny for me to be on this side.
Right.
That record used to bother me. Like, man, we need to beat PC. Now I'm like, we can't let Bosco beat us.
Exactly. And for anyone who doesn't know, Gary is a Don Bosco alum and played quarterback at Bosco. So I'm sure this game is near and dear to his heart as well, not being on the other side. What's been the low moment for you thus far?
Man, just taking these L's, man. My whole life, player, now coaching, winning games is like all you dream of. You just want to win. You practice. You put all the time and effort into winning. And then taking these L's is tough. The margin doesn't really matter. It's just losing in general. It bothers me. I know it bothers everybody in the program. So that's the hardest thing is, people looking at it. Everybody's got all the answers now is you guys should be doing this better and this and that. So this is the low point, kind of just going through these losses and, trying to keep morale up, trying to keep, the pride and Paramus Catholic, the school spirit, all that stuff, trying to keep all that stuff up. It's been tough, but like I said, we're just gonna keep fighting and just keep trying to finish out the year strong.
Yeah, I think for us the low moment was the Bergen Catholic game, losing 14-13 at their place, just because of how we lost to Gonzaga 37-7, and that was certainly more deflating. Yeah. But because of how much the Bosco Bergen rivalry means,
it's a big rivalry,
right? And just looking at the seniors who, unless we see them again in the playoffs, we'll never get to play them again. And the emotion on people's faces when we lost and the way we lost, it being such a close game. We were ahead most of the game and we missed a lot of opportunities. That was a game we looked back and we told ourselves, we lost that game. They didn't win it. We had these 10 opportunities to score or make stops, whatever, and we didn't make those plays. And that hurt. And I think, but at the same time, we knew Bergen was a great team. There were so many young kids and much uncertainty. It also proved to us that, hey, we're 1 or 2 plays away from beating one of the best teams in the state. We're as good as anyone. But it certainly hurt, and I think it really affected the kids, and it's something the kids still haven't forgotten, and I think it still keeps them motivated because of just, again, how important that rivalry is. All right, now on to the fun stuff. This is really the only reason why we're here is to tell some of these stories, but let's each share, and we're trying to keep this brief. This might run over the normal 10-minute episode that we have on Coach Talk, but still trying to keep it short form and keep it brief. After the season, Gary and I will get together for a whole,
all out there,
no doubt, a whole tell all podcast where we are at everyone's dirty laundry. But let's tell our funniest story, funniest moment of the season that you can think of off the top of your head.
And every day something happens where it's like you can't believe it. Your jaw drops and you're like, did that really just happen? And you gotta laugh. But I mean, the story for me that sticks out is we're getting ready to play St. Joe's, and it seemed like everything that could go wrong did go wrong. For our intro music, one of our assistant coaches runs up to the booth and plays the music on his phone, and he forgot the adapter to the aux cord. So we came out to no music.
To no music.
So mind you, we have like this whole thing where a guy puts a mask on and then they do a dance. So they're doing this to no music. No music is happening. I'm watching this like, what is going on? They run onto the field and we get the ball kicked off to us, and the ref looks out like, where football? So give me a football. And I'm like, I look back like hoping somebody's gonna throw a football. Nobody's got a football for the ref. Meanwhile, I gotta call the play, so I call the play. I look back to the ref. The ref's looking at me like I'm an idiot. Like, where's the football? I look over the footballs are on the far sideline on the bench. 3 game balls just sitting there. Nobody's. I'm like, this is not gonna end up well for us. And that's a little
right,
story.
like one thing that you just.
It's like every day is something that you can just be like, wow, this needs to be on TV.
Bro, I try to take notes on those things when they happen. Like when the funny thing happens, I'll like jot down in my notebook like just a memory, because I want to be able to remember. I want to be able to remember all these little things, because in the moment you'll die laughing at them.
Yeah.
I think for me, there's been, like you said, so many funny moments. We actually had an incident the first game against Burns. The whole first half, we left our game balls in the office, so we had to play with like practice balls that were kind of like rainy and worn out. And so like we're down 17-3. We're playing with crappy balls, and the balls were in the office. The second half, we lighted up with the new game balls. But I think the funniest moment for me is, at least that I thought of when I told you we were going to talk about this, was we got this Italian transfer student player, and he's a receiver, so he plays for me. And he's a decent player, decent athlete. Like, he's a junior, not good enough to like come in and play right away, but might be, could help down the road. But so he got here on like a Tuesday, and Thursday we're playing in a JV game, some short turnaround like that. Maybe he got here on a Wednesday and we're playing like whatever it is. It was a very, very short turnaround, and so like I didn't really coach him the first 2 days because I'm like busy. It was like midweek, mid-season, so I'm busy trying to like win this game. He's not my priority, and so like. The day before the game, finally we break the meeting, and like again, I'm on like my mind's on the varsity kids, and he's like, "Coach, so we have game tomorrow." I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "How do you want me to run routes? Do I run routes like I know how to run routes? Because you never taught me how to run routes." And I'm just like. I'm just like, yeah. I'm like, you're absolutely right. I've never taught you how to do anything. And then so one of my senior receivers heard that, and he took him like after practice, like run routes, and then we ended up all staying and like throwing extra routes for like 2 hours, teaching him some of the basics. But he was like, Coach, how do I run route? Do I run route the way I know how to run route? Because you never taught me how to run route. And I'm like, Jesus.
It's funny. We actually had like a similar story. There's a kid that transferred in, and it's like the middle of game week. And it was like a Thursday, and we're going through like our walkthrough before the game on Friday, and we're finished practice, walking back up to the locker room, and the kid taps me on my shoulder, and I'm like, what's up? And he's like, Coach, do you got a playbook for me? And I'm like, nah, man, I don't. And he's like, well, I really want to play in these JV games, but I have no idea what any of the plays are. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. You don't know anything. I'm sorry, man.
I don't know.
Pay attention more practice.
Right,
I'm sorry.
Figure it out.
Yeah, like I'll try to draw something up for you, but I'm like, wow, like you got there too late, man. I can't focus on that right now.
It's unbelievable, man. There's so many. One day I want to have a podcast. I actually have it written on this board back here where we just literally share stories. Think of like your 5 best, and we there's just so many good stories. And another like adjustment is, as funny as coaching in college is, like, you're around 18, 22-year-olds, there's probably more humor around 15 to 18-year-olds. You know what I mean? Like, there's these younger kids that the buffoonery is outrageous.
Like, literally everything is like.
Yeah, it's
everything they do is just like, why are you doing this?
Exactly.
But then it's like, you think when you're a kid, and it's like, I'll probably be doing the same thing right now.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because like I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about like my high school years. But now I'm around these kids all the time. Like, I try to put myself in their shoes, and it's so funny just thinking about this stuff.
Like something as simple as like we're practicing, and the girls' soccer team's on the other half of the field, And like it takes like the first 30 minutes of practice is like we just have to hone their attention in because they're like so out of it.
Right.
They're throwing passes, trying to like look over, see if the girls are looking at them. It's like, come on now. It's like first 30 minutes is just like focus, and then we can practice.
It's very interesting, man. Every day is an adventure. Every day is a new day. That's what Jim Panagos saying. When Jim Panagos was coaching Kamoko Ture, who I guess we could tell a story now that Kamoko was a second-round pick and a star for the Colts. But Kamoko, when we were at Rutgers, he was like a kid that mentally struggled to understand the defensive concept sometimes.
He was a freak.
But an unbelievable athlete, like unbelievable players. Obviously, he's playing for the Colts now. But there would be times like they'd install something on like Tuesday. So then you think like, all right, I just spent all day Tuesday teaching you this. On Wednesday, there's going to be like some carryover, and you're going to like understand and like do it. And so like whatever it is, he's playing DN. Let's say he's supposed to like spill, you know, a cross block or whatever, a pulling guard, and you know they go all day Tuesday going over spilling the guard, and then come Wednesday he doesn't do it, and Jim always be like, every day is a new day with this guy. You know, that's
definitely how it is in high school, man. That's for sure. Every day is a new day.
Every day is a new day. It's very interesting, but. Yeah, so that's it, man. You know, a short episode. We're looking like we're at around 17 minutes right now, which is good. But definitely wanted to get Gary on the podcast. Excited to have this little Sideline Hustle rivalry kind of play out, come to fruition.
PC about to get this W.
Yeah, man. We'll see. We'll see about that, man. It's gonna be it's gonna be fun. There's definitely it's cool because I think it means a lot to Bosco because we haven't beaten Paramus Catholic in 7-8 years, but I think there's a little bit extra edge knowing that in our mind like there's one of ours on the other side, knowing that a big time Bosco alum is coaching the offense over there. We know how badly you're gonna want to beat your alma mater, and we obviously don't want to let that happen. So I think it'll be a good time. Stay tuned. Make sure you guys are kind of paying attention to the updates and to the game because I think it'll be worth your attention. Anything you got, G?
Nah, that's it, man. Just stay tuned for the Sideline Hustle. A lot of great things coming this way.
No doubt. Just quickly to recap, the press release challenge is officially up on Instagram and Twitter. So send in your best press releases for a chance to win a pair of Cutter's gloves. Taylor Gabriel posted one of the videos I made of him on his Instagram today, so that's huge for the brand and for brand awareness. But as you guys know, we're just building by the day, and we got to hustle because we got to eat.
Yes, sir.
All right, that's it. Episode 34 of Coach Talk. This is Coach Liebs and Gary Nova. Peace.
Peace.